This is the Kpopcast, a podcast which provides song recommendations, reviews, and deconstructions within K-pop. I'm joined by my recurring show host. It's Bay Area K-pop B-boy here in the building. It's Supermatic.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? Thank you so much for having me, Peter, as always. And of course, likewise, I am joined here by my amazing show host, DJ Peter Lowe. How are you doing, Peter?
I'm doing pretty well. I have a slight sore throat, I think, so that's why my voice is just a little low. What is on today's episode, Supermatic?
We are going to be talking about our giveaway once again. We've got some more top picks coming at you. Those actually go hand in hand. And we'll be taking a look at the latest from KARD.
That's right. So what are we giving away for our listeners who are tuning in, who missed last week?
So last week, none other than Minzy came out with her solo debut album, which is Work 01 Uno, and we are doing a giveaway for that very album.
And if you want to win that album, what do you have to do?
Those of you out there who are listening to us, the Kpopcast is asking you for some help. Feel free to submit a comment to us that most inspires us via our Facebook, Twitter, or comment by May 2nd. What we are looking for is suggestions for a name for our segment where we do our top picks. So far, we've been calling it Cream of the K-pop.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. So those of you out there, please throw your suggestions at us on what you think would be a better fit for that segment. And if we end up picking your suggestion as the winner, you will be the lucky recipient of Minzy's album.
That's right. And that's by May 2nd that we'll put in that deadline. We've already gotten quite a few good contributions, I think, at this point. So we just want to provide that cutoff date. If you've got something that you've been thinking about, just send it our way. Okay, so let's go into our top picks for this week.
Sure. You want to go ahead and start it off, Peter?
Yeah, so I hope it's not a mistake to do this. Like, I'm not sure if they're going to do a music video on this song, but it's IU's Jam Jam. And, you know, that's my jam, burn it up.
Shout out to BAP.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of intelligent things said about IU and her last title track, Palette. It's all worth checking out. I just didn't really get in the groove of Palette. Jam Jam has been my jam in terms of, you know, what I like listening to. It starts off very light and it builds on itself slowly. It's sort of light, groovy. And by the third chorus, it's got a stronger, more pronounced, groovy synth pop. And it reminds me of a lot of stuff that we hear from the indie K-pop music producers, Smells, maybe Classiquai, Neon Bunny. So if that's all of your flavor, you will definitely like IU's Jam Jam. And I just love the layering of her different vocal styles in the mix. And it gets more and more layered toward the end. And there's a bit of fun sounds they throw into it, like the sounds of the lid being screwed on. Is this nudge nudge? Is this wink wink? Is this a sexy foreplay song? It very well could be. So it's IU's Jam Jam. Check it out. If you saw the trailer, there's a jam sandwich chasing IU, and it must be a really religious, zealous fan of IU.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, they actually put out a teaser for it, but then so far no actual music video. I'm with you, Peter. I'm hoping they do release a video for it because it's interesting.
That's right. So what was your top pick for this week, Supermatic?
All right, so my first top pick this week is interesting. I don't know how I came up upon it, but I just did. So it's by a guy by the name of Jang HanByul, his American name being Jason. Some of you out there might be familiar with him either formerly as a member of the group Led Apple, or might be more familiar with him as one of the English-speaking co-hosts of After School Club.
Oh.
He has decided to go ahead and come back into music, which is, of course, his first love and passion. He's got this new song out called Dumb Love, and the song itself was amazing enough when I heard it. I did not realize there actually was a music video for it because it popped up when I put on a random K-pop playlist a few nights ago. And then it went from the song to the MV. The music video is admittedly kind of dumb and in some parts a little unsettling. But
we like dumb here.
Yes, but at the same time, it was one of those entertaining, funny, makes you laugh kind of dumb videos. So good job on that one. But the song itself is the audio and the vocals part of it is just what I'm really harping on, because it's this interesting style in terms of comparing it to what you usually expect from K-pop, because I'm inclined to agree with a lot of the comments I saw about it, which is that it sounds kind of like 2012, 2013 American pop elements, because it starts off kind of more up-tempo with HanByul just like singing, and he's got repeated phrases like a movie, a movie, a movie, and then it builds up to this chorus, but then it drops into this like melodic breakdown, and he's belting out these notes, and it's an interesting like shift in the tone before it goes back to that up-tempo. So it's an interesting blend of styles. It's definitely not necessarily your typical K-pop sound. It's something different. So those of you who are looking for something different but still within the K-pop genre, definitely recommend that. Check it out.
Awesome. Okay, so my next top pick was a bit of a throwback. This came out last year in 2016, and it's by the musician known as CHEEZE.
Cheese and jam, Peter. I'm sensing a theme with you here.
It's just dumb coincidence. And you pointed out earlier, CHEEZE's label is also, what was it?
Magic Strawberry Sound.
There you go. And it's her song, How Do You Think? I found the song by accident, but what I love about it is that it's got a very, very light jazz influence throughout it. If you actually pay attention to some of CHEEZE's other songs, they actually very directly confront that jazz genre.
Ooh.
You know, some songs taking on the popular titles of other jazz standards and doing their own take. But this song has a very steady, very light influence from French house, and it's got that sort of French house beat with a jazz groove and swing to it. It's very light in that way, but I like it. The lyrics often ask the question, what do you think? And the questioning which the caring partner asks throughout this, it looks like, you know, it's a relationship between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, may actually wear out the recipient. Like, well, do you want to do this or this? Like, I don't know. Or it could be, and I this could be the other takeaway from the song, it's just pondering how other people ponder. So it's just, you know, these light musings, and it's a very light, happy song in that way. And, you know, it's got a surprisingly high production value in the music video with a lot of vibrant colors and film composition that one would come to expect from K-pop. So in addition to listening to the song, I also highly recommend watching the music video.
Definitely. I'm with you there, Peter. I checked out the video myself not too long before we started this, and yeah, it's a fun watch.
Yeah. Okay. And what was your final top pick, Supermatic?
Well, this one I think we both agreed on as a collective top pick.
Right.
The latest from the boys of Snooper with Back Hug.
Back Hug.
Yep.
That's like a fan thing to do, right? Like, idols always give back hugs to,
like to each other or to like other fellow idols. It's this thing.
The fan services that we get in K-pop. Why should people listen to this song?
Where do I start? Audio-wise, it's a great upbeat, up-tempo, dancey track. I think it's definitely a step up from where Snooper was already with their last release, which was Platonic Love. And I loved Platonic Love.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was a bit on the lighter side, whereas this one with Back Hug, I think the beats are a little heavier and like more strong, which I like personally because it indicates like a stronger coming out, in a sense, from Snooper, because these guys are talented, but I feel like they don't really have the fans that they should yet.
What I like about this song is that it's got a sort of like 80s synth inspired beat. It, has a lot of the classic 80s instruments in terms of like, okay, here's the 80s classic synth sound.
Yep.
The electronic drum. But then it changes and it evolves to that to become something a lot more contemporary.
Yeah, definitely.
And the chorus, it's got this really fun vocal effect that they keep playing in the background. So I love the instrumental for the song itself. And the dancing, it's on point. So
definitely going to see a lot of covers of that one.
For listeners tuning in for the first time, Supermatic, what is Daebak or Not?
So Daebak or Not is basically where we would take a new release that just came out in the K-pop genre and we review it, give it a score overall of whether it's Daebak or not.
That's right. And what are we taking a look at, Mac?
So we are going to be taking a look at the latest from the amazing co-ed group known as KARD, the amazing new co-ed group. Yep, from DSP. This is their third and final pre-release single called Rumor. Their trilogy is complete, so after this one, they should be officially debuting.
It's funny. So Tamar Herman, she wrote a story today talking about like her musings and like, oh, this sort of changes, what it means to debut K-pop group. And now, like, whenever a K-pop group debuts, I'm putting it in air quotes for debut for like Luna, for KARD. I mean, you're already public with all these different things, so is it really a debut?
Right.
It's more of an evolution. It's more of an iteration of a group, in my opinion.
I'm inclined to agree with that.
But that said, it's KARD.
않았다고 말해줄래 부탁해 한 번만 더 기회를 줄래 Where you at my love Where you at my love 알잖아 나는 너 아니면 돼
So LG has a notable presence in the song.
Yeah. We were talking about this earlier. Kind of interesting the timing of it all too, because KARD, not too long ago, they announced their fan meet tour, and then within a few days of them announcing that, LG announces that KARD has been chosen as global ambassadors for their new LG smartphones.
Yeah, I can only hope that this is a calculated move from both LG and KARD, right? I mean, so much of KARD's audience is in international fans.
Yep.
International fans who may not quite honestly be buying their albums, where they're not getting a lot of their money or their revenue through those sources. They've got to monetize their brand in different ways.
Yep.
So I can only hope that they're getting a healthy cut from LG, quite frankly.
Yeah,
as they rightfully should. And as LG, hopefully, as a brand, is capitalizing on this other pop sensation to, move their corporate message forward. So this is me with my PR professional, tech PR professional hat on. So I think we could see more of this in K-pop. I don't want to hear about K-pop groups always being in debt.
Yeah.
So I think this is an appropriate way to not compromise too much on the artistic value or vision of the group and still bring something that's brand appropriate for LG, as well as making money for the idols themselves in the process. This also was filmed in a very interesting way. Yeah,
so it's really interesting. Those of you who happen to have not checked out the music video yet, pro tip, try not to watch it on your computer. Watch it on your smartphone if you have one.
It just really, you cannot watch it on your computer.
Yeah.
Do not watch it on your TV. Do not watch it on your laptop or even your tablet, unless you've got
good point.
a very tall. I forgot what the dimensions are exactly, but more of a vertical portrait style tablet. More of a narrower, taller tablet.
Yeah. The way they shot this music video specifically was for the larger aspect ratio smartphones and to be watched like specifically in the verticals orientation.
Yeah, more of your phablet, I think. It's just a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And you look at the behind the scene music videos for the song, like they filmed everything in that way. So everything was composed and designed to fit that aspect ratio. I watched it on TV first. And as I was watching it on TV, I mean, you know, it's clipped off on the sides. But as I was watching it, I couldn't help but wonder, I was like, well, there's a lot of framing that feels like they cropped it, in my opinion, when I was watching it. But you look at the behind the scenes, they weren't cropping anything. It was filmed that way.
Yep.
And I say that maybe they were cropping some things because just given the nature of that aspect ratio, some scenes are better suited for that format of filmmaking than others. So there are scenes where they're all in a group dance together, but given that they're all on a horizontal floor, it's hard to fit them all in. And you have a lot of dead space above them of the garage. So that didn't quite work in those scenes where they're all together in a group, or just scenes where you have a lot of dead space above the subject. But there are some scenes, like when I'm watching it on my phone, it's like, wow, like this is a very different way for consuming a K-pop music video in a way that I think actually really works well, especially for the portraits. For the individual members. And what I loved about the teaser trailer for this song was that it had a box frame for the music video itself, also filmed in the same aspect ratio. And it had a border just like as if one was holding a card. Like a like a playing card. So that I thought was a very nice touch. And if they had that border in the main music video, I think that honestly would have been better, even if that border kept changing.
Ooh, interesting point.
What did you think of the aspect ratio?
It was interesting because for me, like I was thinking about it because at first I was like a lot of people, because one thing for me when it comes to just K-pop in general, especially with a group like KARD and how talented they are, what you mentioned, I love watching the dances because one thing that KARD is known for already is how they have these interesting point dances that they do to go with their songs. So at first I was like, man, I hate this. Like I have to watch it on my phone only. I can't enjoy it on my computer. But then I kept on watching it on my phone. Kept on watching it.
This is the generation. This is the mobile generation.
Exactly.
Like the desktop computers' days are limited. The TV may be limited. This is the universe now. It's through your phone.
Exactly. And I was thinking about it and I was like, this is actually pretty smart. Not just because of the fact that LG has KARD as their ambassadors, but they're catering to quite possibly the majority of their audience. Like everyone these days is so on the go, and just general multimedia consumption is through your smartphone.
But I will say you need a good pair of headphones to really enjoy this.
True.
It's not going to be, you're not going to have a good time if you just listen to it through the speakers of your phone.
Like try to have good headphones as well as watching the music video.
Unless maybe you've got an LG phone.
That said though, one of the other things that I do agree with that I've been seeing a lot of comments posted about online with this aspect ratio and people like watching it on their phones is that it provides amazing visuals, as you said, in terms of shots of the individual members like by themselves. And a lot of fans are really happy because they're like, now I can just watch the MV and just screenshot whatever I want from my wallpaper.
That's another funny, unanticipated benefit. Oh, that's hilarious.
But it's, I don't know, like it's really interesting, and I can actually appreciate the step that they're taking here with how they made it specifically to be watched vertically on a smartphone. So it's an interesting step in directions. It may not be for everybody, but as someone myself who does spend a lot of time on the go and on my phone as one of my main tools, I can appreciate it.
What I really appreciate is KARD breaking the paradigm, changing the game in a way that is truly disruptive.
For sure.
Time will tell if this works, but I think it's thus far a passable experiment. I mean, it hasn't been too bad where it puts people off. I mean, are you seeing that feedback where it's like, oh, I can't watch this because of, you know, how it's shot?
Funny enough, so far, like most of what I've been seeing is just a lot of people along the same train as I was, where at first we might have been put off, but then when we appreciated or when we realized that we're supposed to watch this on our phones, people keep on watching it and then keep on watching it, and then they end up appreciating it more.
Yeah. In the previous 2 releases that we've seen from KARD, they've been loaded with quite a bit of symbolism, quite a bit of imagery and metaphors that actually are trying to say something that go beyond the initial lyrics, that tell a deeper story. Are we seeing that story? Are we seeing something happening of that nature in this music video?
I'm inclined to say not so much.
Yeah.
And again, it's funny because part of the reason why I say that is that one of my theories, or at least what I can guess in terms of why there's not much story and or deeper meaning in this video compared to KARD's previous 2 singles, might have to do also with the fact that, again, the framing.
Oh, the framing. And maybe the corporate sponsorship.
Yeah, that too.
Maybe this is where it does hamper on the creative vision.
Yeah, because when you look at this music video, it's fairly simple compared to Onana and then especially to Don't Recall. Because with Onana and Don't Recall, again, as you said, there was clearly imagery, symbolism. There's something going on there. With Rumor, honestly, for me, like as much as I try to watch and analyze, like is there something deeper going on, it just seemed more and more to me like a simpler K-pop music video where it's just shots of the members by themselves, then you get them dancing together, you get these random scenes. For example, I pointed out earlier, towards the end of the video, random chair, someone's walking in, oh, I'll just sit in it, then sing. It's like...
in this big parking garage,
yes,
there's this chair in the middle.
Yes, a random chair.
And they just did that because it was visually interesting on the phone, I think, for the phone aspect ratio.
Yes.
I don't know. If I was like in an English lit class and I had like forced my bullshit answer for a grade, like I might say like, oh, well, you know, the lyrics talk about, you know, this is what this rumor says and this person says about this, and the mobile phones are the heart of our central social lives, and you know, when we look at, you know, the medium in which we communicate these rumors, it's through the phone. And through the phone, this aspect ratio that is filmed. So that's what this rumor of KARD is all about.
Mind blow.
And that's the bullshit answer. So I really have no idea. In other words, it doesn't continue on the story from what we've seen from the last 2 singles. Or do you think the lyrics actually do continue that? It's like, so Onana, what happened? What were they saying?
So in Onana, from the female perspective, which is what Somin and Ju were saying about, is that they were tired of all the typical like flat out scumbag guys trying to get at them and them being mistreated.
And then Don't Recall is like, we were together, we broke up, but that's actually not how it was. I don't want to get back together with you, boy.
Yep.
Rumor is now like, you've moved on to someone else, and I'm kind of jealous.
Yep.
Or I kind of want bad things to happen to you if I'm reading the lyrics correctly.
It's interesting because with Don't Recall, which we actually did an entire episode on, funny enough, we discovered how, for the male perspective, which is J7BM, it was kind of like the 2 sides or that duality within the same person. And the side that won out in the end was the side that was like, screw it, I'm done. Like, I don't want to get back together with you, whatever. Whereas now with Rumor, you look at it from both sides, and it seems like one of those things where because there's not that communication anymore, both sides are misinterpreting things because you get it from both the guys and the girls' perspectives, where on both ends is like, oh, I heard you have someone new. What is this? You're over me already? So it's like, it's interesting because it shows both sides suffering from the same thought process.
It's something that one can only get from a co-ed group.
Yes.
We've said this in the past, and I feel like they still haven't done this, is that they need to play up that co-ed dynamic more so.
Yes,
in
for
the
sure.
group point dances, they're all doing the same thing together. Any other K-pop group can do that. It's time to do more. We saw it in Oh Na Na, where the girls kind of grind and twerk in front of their guys, and the guys kind of suggestively lean back. We can see more stuff like that. And it doesn't have to be sexual in nature, but just something that shows them being very different from each other. Like the girls doing this thing and the guys doing this thing.
Yeah, definitely. there's still an opportunity there that so far we can agree on they're not really fully utilizing yet.
Yeah, we will see if other co-ed groups do this in the future. But for the most part, I would say that KARD is still changing the game for K-pop.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. So how about that Beat Boy? Is it a cha-cha Beat Boy?
The instrumental is interesting.
Uh-huh.
It's similar enough to Don't Recall and Onana so that fans don't feel like entirely disconnected. But at the same time, they kind of, I want to cut them some slack and say that they were lightly experimenting with a slightly different sound. They threw in some light elements of like, well, tropical dance house, which they've kind of been on the
tropical house
or
dance
tropical
hall.
house dance hall.
I'm not saying that I am more correct or more incorrect, but I think a lot of people are actually struggling to define this because it takes that inspiration from several different genres.
Yes.
And it's at that border for each of them. A lot of people have also said reggaeton.
Yes.
And as a DJ, I learned to beat match to reggaeton because reggaeton, like when I was learning back in the day, this was like, 2006, 2007, like all their beats are like all at the same tempo. So it made perfect beat matching exercises.
Like as you would say, I guess from that DJ's perspective, is that with reggaeton, one of its defining qualities is how it has a very steady, indicative, and defined sound and beat style, right?
Well, I mean, it was almost comedic in terms of how they all had that exact same percussion and beat, and almost all exactly the same tempo.
That's true.
And they were all misogynistic. Luckily, KARD doesn't have that, so it can't be reggaeton because it doesn't have the misogyny.
Okay.
I'm kidding, of course. Not all reggaeton needs that. I mean, do you think it succeeds for this genre of music?
Well, I mean, I think it's definitely interesting. I mean, as you said, it's cool in general just to see groups, especially within the K-pop genre, for a group like KARD and their music team to go with this kind of sound.
Yeah.
Because before, I don't know, I guess like the past year or two, we wouldn't necessarily hear as much of this kind of sound in the K-pop genre of music as we do nowadays.
Right. That's true. But I mean, like we've even, it's funny, like local K-pop conventions, I've even given like lectures on like sub trends within K-pop. It's like, oh, in this year, like this was the main universal, like, outside of Korea, like in Western top 40 and other parts of the world, this, trance was on the rise, and we started seeing K-pop emulating that in these different ways. So it could be that, this is just the universal genre that we're seeing also outside of K-pop. So I don't know if it's the only one to bring it to K-pop, but it's certainly one of the ones that we primarily think of. Is it different enough from the previous songs? Does it have to be different?
That's the thing. It's like I kind of find myself not exactly sure whether to agree or disagree entirely, because on one hand, I like what I'm worried about mainly, like if I may just as purely a fan express some concern here, is that this is already the third single from KARD, and like as we pointed out earlier, they technically haven't really like officially debuted yet. This is all their pre-debut stage. Yeah. But with it being their third single, my worry is that Rumor to me sound like it kind of seems to be indicative of just how formulaic or KARD sound is starting to become.
Huh.
Yeah. Like,
well, one might say that about EXID, right?
True.
And they're trying to break through that now, I feel like. And they're trying to appeal more to the Chinese mainlander and Taiwanese audience right now, based off of their promotions, I would say. But when they were all that up and down, yeah, variety, I liked it all.
True. So did a lot of their fans, myself included.
I mean, do you think Day 6 needs to go beyond the rock genre, for example?
Good point.
There's plenty of innovation, I think, within a subgenre. And I think this is different enough, at least for me. For general K-pop fans, they may say, I've already heard the song from KARD before. In the same way that Jack Johnson songs all sound the same.
I can see it from the fans' perspective in terms of like, this is their sound, so this is what KARD is known for, so they should probably stick with it for now because it's what works. And I can respect that.
But that's going to make it hard for them to change later.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I think what would be a good direction to take, or at least what they're starting, I hope, to take steps in the right direction of, is sticking with the same core sound, but experimenting every now and then, like maybe throwing in splashes of different things from here on out. Like, don't change too much from what made you, but at the same time, little by little, slowly push that envelope, or like break out of this current box you're in.
You remember when Brown Eyed Girls went through like a 180-degree direction change?
Oh, yeah.
Right? They were like more like cute Aegyo, delicate flower, and then they went like hard and edgy.
Abracadabra.
Yeah, and that was genre defining.
Yep.
So I'm going to say if they're going to change, they can go all the way too.
True. I mean, we saw it more recently with CLC.
That's another great example.
Yes.
So I think if KARD wants to do a different genre change, they can do it.
And it would be interesting to see too, because a co-ed group like this to go from what they currently are, it'll be interesting to see if they decide to go in any completely new directions.
Yeah, but I will say, I think I get now why we see K-pop groups debuting with 2 songs of different flavors. Right, so when Blackpink had Boombayah and Whistle, it gave them 2 different directions to evolve from.
True.
And based off of the reception of each, they can sort of narrow the next direction. And I think as we saw the 2 singles following their debut, it kind of edged toward the middle between.
Oh, that's true.
So Boombayah was a faster 128 beats per minute fast song, loud, big room house song.
Yep.
And Whistle was a slower hip hop song. And then the following 2 songs that we saw from them was Stay, a delicate ballad, also along that slower tempo song. And then we also had
Playing with Fire,
which is slower than Boombayah, but just a little faster than Whistle.
Yep.
So it was more narrowing in, and we'll see, based off of the reception of all those 4, we might see a new change from the group as a whole based off of the biggest fan reaction.
That's a very good point, Peter.
So KARD, what's next?
Yeah.
So we've had K. What was the K?
That was from Onana, where BM starts off saying, "It's K."
It's K. So we're being generous here in terms of what the first word is. But yeah, so it's K. What was A?
The A was from their next single, which was Don't Recall, where at the beginning of the song, right after a couple of clicks, or the first opening seconds of the song, again, you hear BM, but he kind of whispers it, and he goes, A.
A. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. And then what's the R?
This one is interesting. Like, I had to listen to it a couple of times, because at the beginning, of course, I think another part of KARD's formula is having BM say or start the song off by saying something. And in this one, he goes, "Are you for real?" But the R is, honestly, it's kind of hard to hear at first. If you listen to it, it sounds a little pushed. Yeah.
Honestly, all of this is kind of pushed, but whatever, we'll give it to them. So do you want the D? You want that debut?
Yeah, sure. Give us that debut.
Oh boy.
We are grown adults, I swear.
Weren't there supposed to be hidden members in more of this?
I think so. I mean, a lot of people online are like, okay, this is cool, but now give us the hidden version.
With the extra member, right?
Yeah, like I do remember that when KARD was first announced, before they even debuted, one of the things that was said about them is one part of their concept is that each of their pre-debut singles will have a hidden member on it.
Yeah.
But we don't see that so far from Rumor. And then even with their last track, Don't Recall, they didn't necessarily have a hidden member, but they had a hidden version, which was an entirely English version of Don't Recall.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they decided to...
I think they're sort of backpedaling a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
On the concept as a whole. Mm-hmm. Well, we're waiting for the D in the debut. Mm-hmm. And who knows, maybe it'll be different. They've probably already put it into production, so it's probably too late to change that course, correct that ship now. But
yeah.
We'll see. What do you think of the audio? And the audio being...
And then the audio itself being what we thought as far as the song itself goes, the instrumental, the beat, and the vocals. Right. Like pretty much whatever it is that your ears take in.
Got it. So what do you think of the audio for KARD's Rumor?
So again, I mean, I alluded to it earlier. Initially, I was a little worried that it just sounded a little too formulaic at this point, but That being said, it's still enjoyable.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely got that signature KARD sound and style.
Yeah.
And it's a nice shift from, or not necessarily so much a shift, but it's definitely memorable enough for me because one thing that we established with me is I definitely am a sucker for beats and or vocals that are catchy. And this one definitely was catchy to me after a while. It's got that interesting with the backbeat, the reggaeton-ish backbeat with those basses, the doo-doo. It's got that contrasting high part during the chorus. It's like dun, wah, 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 wah. So that part gets stuck in your head. It was enjoyable enough for me, but it wasn't like distinctive enough to the point where it's like kind of embedded as much as Don't Recall and especially Onana were. Like, if I'm just gonna be straight up honest and put it out there, especially just audio wise, I feel like this might be the weakest of the 3 singles so far. Oh, really? But that said, it's not a bad song to that degree. It's definitely enjoyable. It's one that I will go ahead and let play if it comes up. It might stay as one of my go-tos. I'm not sure about that yet. But if I have to give it a score, I would probably give it just a slightly above a 3, like maybe a 3.2, 3.25. Yeah. Okay, I'm just a little lower than you. I'd give it a 3. I am not going to actively seek to put this song on airplay, right? I think their other 2 songs are better for that, for that same genre. And they've been a little bit more of an year where maybe it's only because they've been out longer and I've had a chance to listen to them a few more times. This song is good. It delivers. But it's, I've already forgotten the song just talking about it right now, right? Until I hear it again, I'll like it. But it's not a must-play song. Okay. So it's a 3 for me. Okay. All right. So moving on to the concept. The concept for the Kpopcast can mean everything that wasn't the audio. So what do you think of the visuals, everything entailed with the aesthetic? So what we thought of the theme, maybe what the lyrics are trying to tell us, what we thought of the music video itself, maybe even the platform in which it was delivered. So what did you think of the concept, Supermatic? So the concept for me was interesting. At first, I was inclined to just kind of give it more towards that middle ground of a 3 because, again, I wasn't sure how to receive the idea of the ratio and the framing at first. But the more I thought about it and the more I just kept on watching it on my phone, and as we talked about, I've just developed this appreciation for how, as you said, it's a shift in the paradigm for how we as fans consume K-pop. Like, this is an interesting way to maybe try to start a new trend. And with that being said, good job again to KARD and LG. This was a smart and admittedly, at least to me, a bold play. And that said, it looks like so far it's for the most part being well received. And the only thing I would say is that I might have given the concept a higher score just because me being a dancer, I'm a sucker for being able to appreciate the full visual, and I want the dance version of this song, I'll just say. But that being said, for this particular music video and the concept, I was a little nicer. I gave it a 3.5 because I have that appreciation for how it changes with the framing. But that being said, I just wish we could have seen a little more creative direction in terms of storytelling. What was in it? Yes, and what was pretty much in the dance and in the song. Yeah, it's a solid 3 for me. As we said earlier, they could have done something cooler with actually the box frame with the KARD. That was a concept. That was a cool aspect that was in the trailer that didn't carry over to the final version. Yeah. I think they could have done more to play off of its very unique feature. If they did do a lot of portraits, which looked so good. Definitely. But they can do more, I think, that storytelling which plays off of that aspect ratio that only this aspect ratio can deliver. They shouldn't be doing the line point dance with this format. So that's why I have to give it a 3. As a K-pop b-boy dancer, how are you going to be learning the dance? Like, are you going to hold up a phone? Like, okay, everybody, look at this, and you're all going to try to copy it? Or like, how do you do it? Right. I mean, that would be a struggle, an interesting struggle. Okay. And that wasn't a rhetorical question. That was an honest question. How do you do it? I'm thinking about it. I'm just like, Well, how do you guys usually do it? We wait for either the dance practice or the live performances, and we'll just learn off of that, whichever one comes first.
Okay, I see. You can see it from more different angles. Okay, got it. Some insider knowledge here. Okay, so overall, taking everything that we've said into account, is this song
Daebak or not?
What do you think, Supermatic?
I mean, it's still a Daebak for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just glad that KARD hasn't been one of those groups that severely let me down after getting me like so high off of their debut.
Yeah.
I'm just glad for the most part they're staying consistent, and at the same time they're taking steps in ways that they experiment. Yeah. Even though this song is not as strong to me as their other two, it's still enjoyable enough. So that's why I'm still giving it a Daebak.
I think it's Daebak as well. Man, I you and I were just like 100%, like not 100%, like you and I were both on the same page on this. We both thought it was good. We both thought the new medium was a good effort.
Yeah.
And a really interesting concept. But the execution on it was okay.
Yeah.
It was satisfactory. It was good in that way. So it's still Daebak. It's still something good. But not on the top 25 for 2017 for me.
That's fair.
Well, KARD, you can do it. As we said, we're rooting for this co-ed concept, and there's a lot of stuff that only they can do that they haven't yet done. We're waiting for that D.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does it rate it? I mean, how would you rate this against their other songs?
I mean, if it wasn't indicative already, if I have to really put it in a tier, this would be at the bottom. Then Don't Recall, then Onana. Pretty much, it's kind of funny. Like for me, from their debut to now, it's kind of been a slight downhill progression. But I mean, that said, still overall, I love this group.
Yeah,
they're still doing well. Again, consistency. So good job to them for that.
Yeah, I think Onana and Don't Recall are almost tied for me. I think I like Onana just a little bit more. But I like Don't Recall for different reasons. Just, for the concept that we dove into for that episode. And that's a very different way for liking a song. So I like it for that. This one, it's fun if I'm watching something on the go.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. So it's probably third on their own KARD chart.
Yep.
Okay. So that's it for the Kpopcast for this week.
Yep. And what are we going to be taking a look at next week, Peter?
Well, it could be Triple H.
Ooh.
We'll see if they deliver. Or it could be IU's Jam Jam.
Ah, right.
I'm looking for another excuse just to talk about that song. And we'll be bringing in one of my personal friends to talk about K-pop. And we'll just be doing the regular show format with her. So another voice on the show.
Awesome.
So,
exciting stuff.
Of these songs for next week, which of these should we do for Daebak or not?
It could be either of those, or it could be one of the other many new releases that are coming out this week.
Let's put it to our listeners.
For sure.
What's the best way for them to get in touch with us?
You can find us on Twitter. We have a Twitter account at the Kpopcast, THEKPOPCAST. And then we each have our own individual Twitter accounts as well. You can feel free to chat it up with us. I'm at Supermatic, SOUPERMATIC.
And I'm at DJ Peter Lowe, DJ PETERLO.
And then guys, also don't forget about our Minzy album giveaway. Yeah, we are looking for some help from you listeners out there. If you've got a great idea of a name for our Top Picks segment, feel free to submit it to our Twitter handles or any of our other social media. If we love your name suggestion enough, you will be the lucky winner of Minzy's album.
That's right. So will it be Triple H, IU, or something else? We're waiting for your feedback.
Yep. Find out next time on
the Kpopcast.